Shane, everything we thought we knew has now changed. We had something called the NFL Combine, those mock drafts that we've done over the last, I think it's been 4 episodes through 3 rounds. Everything is now just completely blown. That's what we're going to be here to talk about tonight. Welcome into Manic Chill Live. We don't do a lot of live episodes on Manic Chill, but here we are. It is Monday, March the 4th, 2024. Shane has just scrambled home to be here for everybody for our Manic Chill Live on this beautiful Monday evening. Shane, we talked a little bit about the combine results. You were on the live stream on Destination Devi on Saturday, and then Ray and I did Destination Chill last night. Wake up this morning, there's been a lot of content. So before we even get into some of our regrets, and we will take some hammer questions from the group here throughout the show, maybe 2 or 3. But Shane, just initial thoughts on the combine, the reactions. What is the major takeaway for you after the last couple days since you've been able to digest what happened this weekend?
Apparently, it's the most deepest wide receiver class that's ever existed in the history of football ever. Of all time. Everybody runs a 4.4 now. Like 4.4 is not even impressive anymore. That's one of the things. Like 4.44 used to be impressive. Now dudes hit 4.44 and we have the nerve to sit here and be like, oh, I was hoping he would do better. Like what? What are we talking about? First of all, 40 doesn't matter. Xavier Worthy just beat John Ross's record. Good for him. Go look at the fastest competitors that have ever put up the fastest times in the 40-yard dash ever. Not one of them has ever been good. No, that's not true. There's been one good. I care about GPS, and I can't wait until that is the actual standard when we're using GPS. And also, yeah, Clay, I'm using. So I've realized if I put my mic in front of my mouth, it sounds a lot better, is what I've been told. So no, the wide receiver class just super deep. We talked a little bit about it on the morning drive today. Super, super, super deep. It's going to be exciting to see where these wide receivers land.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing I want to kind of hash out is there's been some risers. The names Roman Wilson, Ladd McConkey, Ricky Pearsall, maybe a couple others. Someone mentioned in the chat Roma Dunze. I think we probably put Roma Dunze up in the range of let me get my camera back on. There we go. Put Roma Dunze back up in the range of like Neighbors and Marv now. Is he in that tier? Is it now expanded by a pick to where you don't really care who you have in that range? Let's start with that.
No, I still care. So there's Neighbors and Harrison, whichever way. Then a Dunze, Mitchell, and Brian Thomas. That's the next tier for me. After that, so I'd say that tier, that 3. But I'll say this. I'm in a position now where at 107, I'm not really that concerned if that's what I got instead of the 106. Oh, hey, Scott.
Yeah, Shane, when I go away to fix my camera, you got to jump in and continue the conversation.
I didn't know what was going on. I got absolutely befuddled there. It threw me off. Anywho,
I got this new camera and it's like it's popping on and popping off. I should have probably actually tested it before we went live. But anyway, you're gonna have to stick with the webcam for the rest of the night on the laptop. But anyway, so Dunze, I think we're putting into that top tier of receivers now to where, and it's not just me. I've seen a lot of people saying, okay, he's up there ahead of Neighbors now, even to where top 10 receiver.
I'll say that. I saw that straw man argument on Twitter where someone was like, I can't believe people are putting a Dunze in front of Neighbors, but I have yet to actually see anybody put a Dunze actually in front of Neighbors yet. I haven't actually seen that. I mean, maybe that sentiment is out there. Maybe it's coming. It's definitely coming. Dunze, the only thing he's not good at is catching, right? He's not particularly good at catching the ball. Is that his thing?
I think you might be thinking of Xavier Worthy. I haven't really seen.
Am I thinking of Xavier Worthy's drop rate?
Hands or drops. Yeah, I don't know where you're getting that. You must have heard it somewhere. Someone said they were watching something and saw what is that awesome analysis you hear? The concentration drop. Yeah. Always the analysis. Man, he struggles with those concentration drops. I mean, who gives a shit about that type of analysis? But anyway, let's move on.
Reddit, just so you know, Reddit was way ahead of the crowd. I'm looking at Reddit. Roma Dunze versus Malik Neighbors for wide receiver 2. 3 months ago.
Okay, so let's just dissect where they fit in the overall landscape, though, because we have 3 receivers right now that I bet you by the end of this week, keep trade cut, 3 rookie receivers will be in the top 12. Is that a mistake? Given that the odds that all 3 maintain that top 12. Now, I pushed back on Ray on this and I said, there's no way it can happen. And he said, you know what? I think these 3 are loved so much. And the receiver landscape is at a point right now where everybody wants them so badly. Like, is it possible you invest in these guys? And if they have a Drake London type rookie year where maybe the numbers are not there, but the metrics and the peripherals are, they just hold their value. Are they now safer? And this is what I wanted to dive in before we dive into some of the deeper parts of our mock drafts and some of our regrets. Is it now safer to draft the 3 receivers over the QB2, Shane? Given that there's now rumblings that Jaden Daniels is falling in the draft a little bit. Drake May, he had that hell of a week last week is it now safer to go the 3 receivers over the QB2 if you had to draft today?
I mean, what's safety? It's safety if one of them fails and the other doesn't. But I'll say this, if Dunze goes out there and puts up 8.5 fantasy points per game next year, he's dead. So he'll still be dead. Now, will the market realize that? I don't know, because the market's stupid when it comes to rookie wide receivers and production. So, I mean, the quarterback would have to come out and have like a Bryce Young type season to, you know what I mean, to drop that far. I'm still going to say that the quarterback is going to be safer. QB2 is still going to be safer in Superflex.
Well, I guess the reason I asked that is because, I mean, what is the difference right now between who would you prefer, Bryce Young or JSN? Maybe not you, but Bryce the majority Young. Of people. Oh. Who would they rather have right now? The majority of people, who would they rather prefer?
JSN. And they're 1,000% wrong, but JSN.
Whether they're right or wrong, I know. My original point was that I get it. If one of these guys goes out and puts up 8 points per game, we're going to be disappointed. But let's say they put up 12 points per game, but they just have not a good situation. Quarterback's bad, pass efficiency's bad. You know, they maybe have a low catch rate, like the things that typically plague a rookie receiver. But then you look at like their trinity, you look at a lot of their metrics and you're like, what did you say with Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Drake London? They just need a better situation. It feels like to me, now, if you had to draft now versus after the NFL draft, you're going to see where the quarterbacks go, right? But it feels like to me, if you had to pick today, people would take the receivers 2, 3, 4.
Well, so I had a mock. I had a mock.
2, 3, 4, whatever.
We did a mock on the way to work this morning. Not me and you. Well, you were there, but on the morning drive. So I started a mock this morning, and yeah, wide receivers flew off the board where I think May and Daniels were definitely after Neighbors and Adunze. I think that's a mistake. I love the upside. I love people taking that risk because now that I in drafts that I have the 105 and the 106 where I didn't think I had a shot at one of the top 3 quarterbacks in this class, I'm going to be able to get them in some leagues. I think that's a huge mistake. And if anyone does it in my leagues, I'm going to yell at you, laugh at you, and then select a quarterback. And then the next year, when your wide receiver flopped out hard, and my quarterback is worth like 3 firsts, probably 2 firsts, 1.5, Anthony Richardson money, I'm going to just laugh at you and make fun of you and tell you why your family doesn't love you because of moves like that.
This makes me laugh. All right, let's get into the next part that I wanted to hit on because we struggled with this part in the mock draft. We got to, I think it was the 109, and we started debating whether we want to get out for a random 25 first. So I want to pick your brain. Has that now changed, given that there's probably 1 or 2 options at the top of the draft that whether you think there's a big difference between 109 and 208, 204, 205, 206, whatever the cutoff is. The community, I think, has a lot more interest now in those picks in that range. So are you changing where that tier break is? Or, because here's the thing, before this, you probably wouldn't have been able to get those deals done in a lot of leagues. I think right now you have a better shot. If you're willing to trade a 1-9, 110 for a 25 first, people will do it. As long as it's not a team that's clearly in last place, they're tanking for 2025. They already know their pick's going to be 101, 102. Are you doing that now? Because I would just say this, historically, regardless of how good the class is, you get down to the end of the first, early second, those are not players you want to pay a first for. Are there players that hit from there? Yes. But it doesn't mean you're like, man, all of them are going to hit. So I think if you make that deal from 110 and beyond, I think you're probably better off in this class taking a shot on a player further down the board and taking the first where you can get it. So what do you think?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to get to, right? Historically, 109, 110, 111, 112. These picks don't turn out very well for you, and they don't turn out at a rate that's much higher than 201, 202, 203, 204. But I do wonder, and I'll admit this, I don't know enough right now, but I think this class, the profiles for the players that we're going to be getting at 109, 110, 111, 112 are probably better than a lot of the profiles that we've seen in the past. So it's not just that it's a deep, what we perceive as a deep class, because sometimes we make it a deep class in our minds, right? This is a actually legitimate deep class. Every wide receiver in this draft is a freak show. Every wide receiver, you know what I mean? Like they're just all freak shows. Keon Coleman, we all dogged him because he's 40. He's still running it. But if you look at his RAS score, he's still a freak of nature. Johnny Wilson's really a tight end, but he's a freak of nature. And those are guys on the lower end. And then you got guys like Mitchell that went out there and absolutely destroyed the 40. And now all of a sudden people like him again. So I think the profiles are going to be better there. All that said, the background keeps changing. But all that said, I'm still in a spot where if I can get multiple back firsts, multiple seconds for the 109, I'm going to pull that trigger. The 25, I'll say this, I'll be a little more discerning. Generally, I'm like any 25 first from any team, just give me it. You can have the 110, 109. I think I'll look at the team a little harder. Is that Scott's 25 first? Well, I don't want it because it's going to be back of the first anyway, and it's going to be a weaker class. So it really won't pay for me to have it. Obviously, there's the flexibility, fungibility of that first, what I can do with it throughout the year, blah, 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 blah. But in general, I think, I'll be a little more discerning instead of just any first.
Yeah, I think for me, I probably have to go through and figure out what leagues they work best, where I think I can make those deals. But I think you hit on a really interesting point, because is there anyone right now, I'll kind of pull the crowd on this. Is there anybody right now, let's just say it's a start 11. So we're not going to make it easy. We're not going to do a start 9, and maybe even in a start 9, you would go this way too, just because the 110, 111, 112 is already kind of out of starter range anyway. You might want to take 2 shots instead of 1. But is anybody giving up, let's say, the 202 and the 204 for the 110? You get to make your choice, but you're giving up the 202 and 204. So probably 2 players that are going to be in a similar tier. You just don't get to choose who they're going to be. You probably don't get to choose whether it's receiver or running back. But I think the good thing for you is there's probably multiple options at both positions that you might want to take. So is there anybody that goes right now? Because again, I'm trying to think of moves that you can make because other people are going, I don't want to make that move. It's very easy for us to sit here and go, yeah, let's trade back from 110 for the 202 and the 205. Who's doing that though? You have to find a move. No, I'm saying who's actually doing that move on the other side. As Shane talks and nothing comes out. Shane
I was
can
on
do
complete mute. I was on complete mute. But yeah, now I get your point. No one, it's easy to say, and you'll get those tweets. People are going to be like, dude, you just want to trade
Correct.
your first for multiple seconds. And I'm sure a lot of analysts are going to say that. But if you're playing in a league with sharp people, not many people are going to actually do that unless they have another plan to cascade that pick into something else. And they keep trying to move up.
Correct. And I think that was the point, is that I'm big on dynasty managers. I mean, everybody that's in here, we got over 250 people in here. Most people watching this are smart enough to go, wait a second. I have the 204 and the 202. Those picks are now feeling a lot better than they did before the combine. Why would I give up 2 of them for 1? So you have to find ways, if you want to get deals done, You have to go out there. Sure, you can try now with all your 110s, 111s, and 112s to trade back, but good luck getting a deal like that. You have to find ways in Dynasty to go against what the public is doing. You got to go, all right, most people are doing X. I'm going to actually go against X, and that's how I'm going to get deals done. If you're just chasing, what did I talk about today on Destination Dynasty? Anybody that heard me on that episode, I basically said you need to go and make moves when other people want to go the other way. Waiting until it's obvious and then going out there and creating content and saying, oh, man, everybody should go buy those 24 late firsts now. Everyone should go try to trade back because it's one big tier and there's 18 good players in this class. Now that we have 6 good running backs now, apparently, and we have 12 good receivers, it's not going to work. You can't wait until it's obvious and then expect to get the deal done because there needs to be somebody on the other side. So I just wanted to put that out there. So how are you feeling about a 208 cutoff? Are you willing to go that far down? Are you willing to count 5 or 6 running backs? Are you willing to count like 10 receivers, Shane? Or do you think the landing spots are actually going to destroy some of these guys? We talked about that on the morning drive this morning in the Discord. There's some landing spots that you were not too happy. Even if guys go in the first, you will pass over the players regardless of their capital.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? If all things being equal, if every one of these people gets a spot that I like, it's easy to say, dude, I can go to 212 and find something that I really, really like. But the reality is one of these dudes is going to end up in Philadelphia. He's going to be a permanent wide receiver 3 on his own team for the next 4 years. There's going to be other situations like that, right? T. Higgins is probably going to end up re-signing with Cincinnati for 4 years and 40 million. Not 40 million, 40 million a year, maybe. Nah, probably like closer to 26. Either way, he's going to get a lot of money, right? If he re-signs. There's going to be situations like that where they just absolutely destroy the wide receivers that we loved. Lad McConkey, we talked about it. Brian Thomas Jr. It doesn't matter. Like one of these, at least probably 2 to 3 of these dudes is going to fall into those spots, and it's just going to be just awful. And I'm not talking, I want to be specific because I am, a guy that says you fade the situation for talent. But I'm talking about when we can look at the situation and go, there's no long-term out for this wide receiver. Like I said, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Wide receiver gets drafted into that situation. What does he have to look forward to? 60 targets a year. We have to be honest with ourselves. So I'll say probably, with all that said, 206, because there's still a couple of these running backs where I'm not going to just fall in love with them just because they had nice combines.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're going to go this morning when I did the exercise, there was like 7 running backs that I think could get drafted in the range of capital where, let's say, late second to the end of the 4th. I'm almost treating all those guys the same. However, like you mentioned, there's going to be a couple of them. Like Shane, if a guy goes in the 4th round to the Steelers, are you really interested in that running back?
No.
That's one where
a little.
Okay. But when I say, are you interested in that running back, that means he must have a role day one. There's no waiting. And I think a landing spot like that makes me go, all right, do they have a free agent running back coming up? No. Do they have a running back that the rookie is clearly better than? No. I don't know if I want to take that guy. You mentioned a couple of the wide receiver landing spots. So I think 206 is a fair range to kind of use as a cutoff, assuming there's going to be some attrition. Now, the beauty is somebody's going to still bite on a first-round receiver in Philly. It's just not going to be Shane, right. And it may not be at the price where Shane wants them to go so someone else can fall, but somebody's still going to draft old school, right? This guy was a first-round receiver. I just have to take him. I have to take him based on the talent. So I think 206 is fair. I'm going to pull up our board here. I want to talk about maybe some regrets that we have.
Let's see. I got it right off the bat. Jatavian Sanders.
Yeah, I'm trying to find where Clay said we can put up the board. Let's see. Manic Chill rookie board overlay. See if I can find it. See if you can find it while I'm looking for it. Rookie board overlay.
Mm-hmm. MC by me a hammer. Oh, here you go.
That's what happens when Clay's not here.
No, wait. This is the overlay, but there's nothing there.
Yeah, we wanted
that. There you go.
We wanted the one that had all the picks.
That's it right there.
Everyone behind the scenes, Clay jumped in here and he put it up there. And now I can't find where it is.
It's right there.
There we go.
It's there.
There we go.
I've been yelling at you for hours. So I'll say
wasn't it?
This is it.
But
this is
anyway, it's up now. It is up now.
But what's egregious as hell, as heck, I don't want to curse. Children might be listening. Is Keon Coleman and Jatavian Sanders. Flat out egregiousness.
Yeah. How about those last two picks,
And Troy
111 and
Franklin.
112? Keon Coleman and Troy Franklin. Probably
I got
two
it.
of the
111. No, 110, 111, 112. Looks like we just gave up. That's what it looks like right now.
Why is Jatavian Sanders a faller in 2 PPR?
In 2 PPR?
That's what we did. 2 PPR. He's going to go in the second round.
Did we go 2 PPR? All right. If it's 2 PPR, I don't feel as bad. Never mind. I don't feel as bad.
Okay. No. This is a good discussion. If you could do this again, do you feel more confident about some of the other receivers that you would go, I'm not taking that tight end there at the 110?
Mitchell, McConkey. And I just want to put this out here in case Lad ever listens. There was a mock draft that I started right after the Senior Bowl, and Lad McConkey was drafted at 108 in a super flex. And I ended the mock draft, because I was so mad at everyone. I just ended it. And apparently that was a little bit of overkill on my part, because apparently the dude's an absolute stud. Anyway, so McConkey, Mitchell, Roman Wilson. I think that's it from the wide receiver perspective. Trey Benson, I would have drafted him higher. I don't know if I drafted him. Someone drafted him. He would have moved up.
Well, I mean, just so everybody can go through and see the names. I mean, someone said in the chat, prefer the names over the pictures. It's fun to try to figure out the names. So you got Caleb, you got Jaden Daniels, you got Marv, you got Drake May, you got Malik Neighbors, you got Bowers, McCarthy, Adunze, Brian Thomas, Jatavian Sanders, Keon Coleman, Troy Franklin. Round 2, Xavier Worthy. 202. Who do we take at 202? Let me see. Got to zoom in. Oh. Did we get these right, or did we get... Oh, we took A.D. Mitchell at 202. That's who it is. I couldn't see the Texas helmet. A.D. Mitchell, 202. So probably Worthy and Mitchell you would flip with Franklin and Coleman, likely. If you had to do it again. And then Roman Wilson, Lad McConkey. So 203, 204. I think Jonathan Brooks at 205 is probably likely right around.
I'm moving Trey Benson ahead of him. I moved Trey
Bucky
Benson
Irving.
Oh, faller.
Bucky Irving at 206. You regret that pick, Shane?
Very much so. I did not know he was going to be the next Kyron Williams, but the bad Kyron Williams, not what we saw from Kyron Williams last year, what we saw from Kyron Williams combine. And then, you know, what's going to be great about Bucky Irving is people are going to go, Kyron Williams did it, so it's not that bad. He's going to turn out fine.
You already saw the Kyron Williams comp as soon as his RAS came out, and it was like 3.55. It was like, well, Kyron's was in the threes, so he must be a good comp. And
he's
it's
fine.
Like
he's
100% one player that's come from there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, every other player with that RAS score has never played it down in the NFL. They are all accountants or work at a car wash. Literally all of them.
Look at that. Destination Devy Fantasy Football is giving you shit for taking top 50 receivers over not top 50.
Sanders is going to be top 50. It's just going to be to the Bengals.
Again, this was pre-combine. So this is not like what we're doing right now. This was pre-combine. So we're just kind of going through what our regrets are. 207 was Blake Corum.
Michael Penix at 210.
Yeah, 207 Corum, 208 Trey Benson. I think both those guys would move up for sure.
Yeah.
Nix and Penix at 209 and 210.
I'll tell you what, Nix, I think he's still overdrafted. That dude is, I got him at 413 is where I think he should be drafted. But I definitely think Penix should have moved up.
Braylon Allen, 211. I still think that's a pick because other people will like Braylon Allen, but I don't know if he really did anything to change his stock. And then 212, Malachi Corley didn't do anything.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Is that a guy that fell just given there were other receivers behind him that did more?
Yeah, because, I mean, honestly, he's a guy that I was ecstatic to be able to get a 212. I thought he was going to move up after the combine. And my man, did nothing, right? So he had other receivers just completely pass him by. Whoever gave him that advice is poor advice.
I think some others in the third that I see on here, Ricky Pearsall, 311. That's one that's moving up.
Yes.
Tez Walker, 309, probably moving up a little bit. Marshawn Lloyd, 307, probably moving up.
Jalen Wright.
Yeah, Ray Davis, 306, moving up. Jalen Wright, 303, moving up. Xavier Legette, moving up. I mean, damn near all those third rounders you could say could belong in the second. And so there's some guys in the third or the second that could get bumped down to the third. So I think that just kind of highlights the depth of the class. So we'll go through and we'll obviously have tons more conversation on this, but let's close this out and get rid of this one. Put up the old overlay. You can do it since you're able to drive better than me. All right. We're going to end it. Not the cleanest stream just because my new camera went out, so I'm very disappointed that I wasn't able to show that off. But we're going to go through and just hit a couple hammers. And let's see, which one do you want to hit? We'll do 2 hammers or 2 questions in there. Any that stand out to you, throw them up if you see any. I want to get some rookie ones. I want to get one that has to do with maybe some picks.
Okay, well, here you go. Charlie. Rate this Hammers League trade. Get the 103 and 26 second. Give up a 108, 111, 306, and a mid 25 first. So we gave up 3 firsts.
Yeah.
To get to the 103.
What's your thoughts here? Because I think this is a lot to give up. It's a 12-team, start 11. It's a deep league. It's an active league. Feels like 3 firsts. I get it. You're getting up into the 103. But here's the thing. Are you even confident at the 103 that you're super, super happy with what you're getting compared to what you're getting with 3 firsts?
No, I'd rather have
you would have done this a week ago, possibly.
Easily. If you take off the 25 first, I would do this. But that's probably a pretty significant part of this trade. So you can't just do that, I guess. You take off the 306, but I wouldn't care. I mean, I'd give up. I'd take the 103 for the 108 and 111. The mid 25 first feels like a little bit too much to me. There's just, what else could I have done? Like, I can't move up to 106, 105 with the 108 and the mid 25 first.
So would you be willing to move up to the 106? Would you give up the 108 and 111 for the 106 right now and take your chances on getting one of the same? You may not get a quarterback there. You may not get a receiver, but if you're okay with the Dunze, if you're okay with the Dunze, let's say you're going after a receiver, right? And you think, hey, I might be able to get Marv at 103. And that was your target. I don't even know what everybody needs in hammers. I haven't looked. But essentially, are you giving up Roma Dunze and a 25 first or Marvin Harrison? That's essentially what this trade comes down to. If you could get the 108 and 111 for the 106.
I'll say this. If my team looked like Charlie's, I'm going to go Roma Dunze and the 25 first.
You're going the more assets, right?
I definitely need more assets. And that's not to be a dick. His team needs assets. Marvin Harrison's awesome to have. I'd love to have Marvin Harrison on every fantasy football team I have. But it's a start 11. And Charlie, I don't think could start 5 people if I put a gun to his head right now. So I would take the more assets. Give me the more.
Okay, let's do 2 more. Then we got to go. We got a roster review coming up here very shortly. So I had to cut this one short a little bit. Of course, we got a little bit of a late start as we were waiting for Shane. And then my camera went out. So try to end it strong. Shane, we got 3 hammers from Adam Walker. 12 teams, start 9. So it's a start 9. And we didn't get to talk much about shallow leagues, but I actually think in shallow leagues, this is also a class when you get into that dead zone of picks. I almost prefer the volume this year. Instead of making 1 pick, I almost prefer to trade back, even in a shallow league, because I feel like my odds at hitting at 109 versus 201 and 203 isn't that big a difference, and almost give me 2 chances instead of 1, even though that would be antithetical, which you'd typically want to do in a start 9. You'd want to trade up. But Adam says 12 team start 9. He has Anthony Richardson. It is 1.5 premium. Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields, who we'll probably talk about on the stream tomorrow night. It's getting a little scary if you have Justin Fields. And Deshaun Watson. And then Ken Walker, Ramondre Stevenson. His receivers, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Jordan Addison, Jaden Reed, David Njoku, 103 and 110. This is the crux of the question. Is the QB position solidified enough to just bypass QB? Point blank period. With that QB room, Richardson, Fields, and Watson, there's a lot of risk in that QB room, isn't there, Shane?
Yeah, but you know what? And risk is okay. There's nothing wrong with risk. As you'll see
So do
when the
we
next
do we quadruple down and take more risk with Jaden Daniels and just get like
no,
every risky QB?
no. In this situation, yeah, I'm taking Neighbors or Dunze. I mean, it's probably Neighbors, but well, he might not be there. Who knows? It's Neighbors or Dunze for me. Here, if you had two wide receivers, or excuse me, quarterbacks in this range, and then like let's just say like a Derek Carr, I'd feel less confident. You know what I mean? Like Justin Fields, I still think he's going to get it. You're going to get a season of production out of him, and you'll get one more opportunity to sell him if you really want to. Watson, I think at worst is a high end QB2 at worst, high end, and then Richardson, obviously, the dude is a freak show, so that he's got the skill set to be up there with Jalen.
Yeah, I think it's this is what's changed from this year to last year, or last year to this year. Because I think last year we would have been much more apt to just hoard the QBs. This year we've kind of seen 2 straight years, but especially last year, that you can win without having the bigger name QBs. Does it help to have extra QBs? Does it help to have somebody with the upside of Fields or maybe the job security of Watson? Yeah, but it almost feels like if I have one good QB, which you're betting on Anthony Richardson being, I'm okay almost even fading my QB2. I'm okay with a Derek Carr, Geno Smith 2 and 3. And it's risky, but let's say you had that QB room, hypothetical. Let's say you had, give you a Kyler Murray, Derek Carr, and Geno Smith. Okay. But you're a contender. Are you going Drake May or Odunze or Neighbors?
Neighbors or Dunze.
So even then, where I could tell you, Shane, you have a QB need very soon, you're still going, I'm not taking the risk on the QB. I'm just taking the locked and loaded receiver, right?
Yep.
And last year, we would have never done that. We would have taken the QB 100%.
And that might be me falling into the trap of Neighbors being top 10 dynasty wide receiver already before he stepped in, even though you could have gotten him in a Devy draft last year. He was still available. So clearly I don't want to say it's been a meteoric rise, but it's not like Marvin Harrison. We haven't known about the dude since he was in like 3rd grade.
Yep. Well, that is it. Appreciate the couple hammers. We got to run. Anybody that has a hammer that's submitted, we're going to try to get to that. We're going to be streaming tomorrow, 8:30. Clay will be back. The production quality will be better. But Manic and Chill is not built on its production quality. It's just Shane and I in here bullshitting, talking Dynasty. We'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern time. We'll probably go longer than an hour and a half. It always tends to go 1:45, 2 hours. We have a ton of hammers to answer. We're also going to be streaming on Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, where we'll be getting more hammers answered. So if you've submitted one, look for it on one of those next 2 shows. If you want to donate or buy a coffee for us, we like to call them hammers, buymeacoffee.com/trades in 5. You can see it on the screen. We'll hope to get your question answered on the stream within 1 to 2 streams. Shane, final comments before we sign off for the night?
No, man, this was fun. This is fun. A little bit of Manic and Chill live. It's good. It's good. Put us on the spot. Next time we'll try to, definitely. We'll try to maybe make this a little longer, a little tight tonight.
Yeah, we'll maybe do a Manic and Chill once a month throughout the summer. Just doing a live Manic and Chill. Just get on here on Monday nights. That's when we usually record them, either Sunday nights or Monday nights. And we'll just get on here and do these live and answer some hammers. I think it's a good way for you and I to get some practice, like doing a show without Clay and actually answering questions and kind of developing that skill set. But appreciate everybody that jumped in. We had over 200 the entire stream. Absolutely love it. And we will see everybody tomorrow night.